What if I told you that three fruits sitting in your kitchen right now could be quietly stealing your eyesight? I know that sounds crazy. We've been told our whole lives that fruit is healthy, and for the most part, that's absolutely true. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. After age 60, your eyes become incredibly vulnerable to damage from blood sugar fluctuations, and certain fruits, especially when eaten the wrong way, can send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride that your aging eyes simply cannot handle. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University discovered something that shocked even the researchers. They found that high-glycemic foods, including certain fruits, can actually trigger the development of age-related macular degeneration. The scientists call this connection one of the most overlooked factors in vision loss for older adults. But here's what really got my attention. The study also revealed that when mice were switched from high-glycemic foods to low-glycemic alternatives, some of the damage to their retinas actually reversed. Let me say that again. Some of the damage reversed. That tells us something incredibly important. The choices you make today about what fruits you eat and how you eat them could determine whether you're reading your grandchildren's text messages at 80 or struggling to recognize their faces across the dinner table. Before we dive into the three specific fruits you need to watch out for, drop a comment below telling us your age and where you're watching from. We read every single comment, and we genuinely want to hear from you. Now let's get into the science behind why your eyes become so vulnerable after 60. Your eyes contain some of the most delicate blood vessels in your entire body. These tiny vessels feed your retina, which is essentially the screen at the back of your eye where images form. Every time your blood sugar spikes, those small vessels take damage. They can swell, leak, or even become blocked over time. Research shows that elevated blood sugar creates something called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short. Think of these AGEs like rust forming on the inside of your blood vessels. They accumulate in your retina and literally accelerate the aging of your eyes at a cellular level. For people under 60, the body can usually handle occasional blood sugar spikes without too much trouble. But as we age, our ability to regulate blood sugar naturally decreases. Our insulin becomes less efficient, and our eyes become dramatically more susceptible to damage from those same fluctuations that younger people brush off easily. The good news is that once you know which fruits to approach with caution and exactly how to eat them safely, you can protect your eyesight while still enjoying nature's sweetness. So let's start with our first problem fruit. Coming in at number 3 on our list are grapes. Now I can already hear you saying, wait a minute, aren't grapes supposed to be full of healthy antioxidants? And you're absolutely right about that. Grapes do contain resveratrol and other compounds that can be beneficial for your heart and even your brain. But here's the problem that nobody tells you about. Grapes are essentially little sugar bombs wrapped in a healthy-looking package. They contain a concentrated dose of natural sugar, primarily glucose and fructose, with very minimal fiber to slow down the absorption. One single cup of grapes contains about 23 grams of sugar. That's nearly 6 teaspoons of sugar hitting your bloodstream. And here's what makes grapes particularly tricky for people over 60. They're so small and so easy to pop in your mouth that most people dramatically underestimate how many they're actually consuming. You sit down with a bowl while watching your favorite evening show, and before you know it, you've mindlessly eaten 2 or 3 cups without even thinking about it. Research published in the Archives of Ophthalmology found that foods causing rapid blood sugar elevation can more than double your risk of developing advanced macular degeneration. The researchers specifically identified high sugar intake as one of the most significant modifiable risk factors for permanent vision loss. But wait, there's more to this story. When you turn grapes into raisins, the problem becomes significantly worse. Those innocent-looking dried fruits concentrate all that sugar into an even smaller package with an even worse fiber-to-sugar ratio. The glycemic index of raisins jumps considerably higher than fresh grapes. Now, I'm not saying you can never eat another grape for the rest of your life. But if you're over 60 and genuinely concerned about protecting your eyesight, here's exactly what you should do instead. Limit yourself to about half a cup of grapes at any one time. Never eat them alone on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. Always pair them with some protein or healthy fat, like a small handful of almonds or a piece of cheese. This simple combination dramatically slows down sugar absorption and protects your delicate blood vessels from those damaging spikes. And if you currently love adding raisins to your morning oatmeal or afternoon trail mix, consider replacing them with fresh berries like blueberries or strawberries instead. These alternatives have a much lower glycemic impact and actually contain anthocyanins that actively support and protect your eye health. Moving on to number 2, we have mangoes. And I know this one is going to surprise a lot of you watching right now. Mangoes are absolutely delicious. They're tropical, sweet, and they remind us of vacations and warm sunshine. But here's the uncomfortable truth. They're also one of the most sugar-dense fruits available on the entire planet. 1 cup of sliced mango contains approximately 23 grams of sugar and has a glycemic index hovering around 51 to 60, depending on how ripe it is. But here's what's truly alarming. Some studies conducted in tropical regions have found that certain mango varieties can reach a glycemic index as high as 117. Let that sink in for a moment. Regular white table sugar has a glycemic index of only 65. That means some mangoes can spike your blood sugar even faster than eating straight sugar from a bowl. Here's where this becomes genuinely concerning for your precious eyesight. Research published in the journal Food and Function explains that as we age, fatty deposits accumulate on something called Bruch's membrane in our retinas. This is a completely natural part of aging. But when you repeatedly add blood sugar spikes on top of this natural process, you dramatically accelerate the oxidative damage happening to your retinal cells. Your risk of developing age-related macular degeneration increases substantially with each passing year. Now, I want to be completely fair to the mango here. It does contain meaningful amounts of vitamins A and C, both of which are actually beneficial for overall eye health. In genuinely small amounts eaten the right way, mango can still be part of a reasonably healthy diet. But the key phrase there is small amounts eaten correctly. If you absolutely love mango and want to continue enjoying it after 60, limit yourself to about half a cup maximum per serving. Never eat it first thing in the morning when your blood sugar is already naturally elevated from the overnight fasting period. And whatever you do, never drink mango blended into a smoothie. Here's why that matters so much. When you blend any fruit, you completely break down the fibrous cell structure that normally slows sugar absorption in your digestive system. Without that natural barrier, your body absorbs the sugar almost as rapidly as if you were drinking a can of soda. Research has shown that drinking fruit smoothies regularly can increase your type 2 diabetes risk by up to 21% compared to eating the exact same fruits whole. For a much safer tropical treat that still satisfies that craving, consider reaching for citrus fruits like oranges instead. They have a significantly lower glycemic index around 40 to 44, and they're absolutely loaded with vitamin C to actively protect those delicate blood vessels feeding your eyes. Now, we're getting to the number 1 fruit that's quietly damaging senior eyesight across the country. And this one is almost certainly sitting in your pantry right now. The number 1 offender is canned or juiced pineapple. Now notice very carefully that I said canned or juiced specifically. Fresh pineapple eaten in genuine moderation can actually be perfectly fine for most people. But the moment you process pineapple into juice or pack it into those convenient little cans, it transforms into an absolute eyesight nightmare. Let me explain exactly why this happens. Fresh pineapple already has one of the highest glycemic indexes of any commonly eaten fruit, ranging anywhere from 59 to 73 depending on ripeness. When manufacturers turn it into juice, they remove virtually all of the fiber that would normally slow down sugar absorption in your gut. What remains is essentially flavored sugar water masquerading as something healthy. And those convenient canned pineapple rings that look so innocent sitting on your grocery store shelf? Most commercial brands pack them in heavy syrup that can add 15 to 20 additional grams of pure added sugar per single serving. Even the versions marketed as being packed in light syrup still add significant amounts of sugar to an already dangerously high glycemic fruit. Research conducted by the National Eye Institute has consistently and repeatedly linked high glycemic diets directly to dramatically increased risk of macular degeneration. One landmark study involving thousands of participants found that people who consumed high glycemic foods on a regular basis showed significantly more progression of AMD compared to those who consistently chose low glycemic alternatives. But here's what makes processed pineapple particularly dangerous for your aging eyes. The toxic combination of naturally high sugars plus artificially added sugars plus virtually zero fiber creates a perfect storm for blood vessel damage. Your blood sugar spikes rapidly and dramatically. Your pancreas responds by releasing a flood of insulin to compensate. And those damaging advanced glycation end products we discussed earlier start accumulating directly in your sensitive retinal tissue. Over time, this damage compounds on itself relentlessly. The tiny blood vessels feeding your eyes become progressively less elastic. They begin to leak fluid where they shouldn't. The incredibly delicate photoreceptor cells that actually process incoming light start to deteriorate. And slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, your precious vision begins to fade away. The real tragedy here is that most people have absolutely no idea this silent damage is even happening until it has already progressed to an advanced and largely irreversible stage. So, what exactly should you do if you genuinely love pineapple and don't want to give it up entirely? First and most importantly, always choose fresh pineapple over canned or juiced versions. Fresh pineapple at least retains some of its natural fiber and hasn't been contaminated with additional sugars during processing. Second, keep your portions genuinely small. About half a cup represents a reasonable serving size for anyone over 60 who's concerned about their eye health. Third, never drink pineapple juice, even if the label proudly proclaims it's 100% juice with no added sugar. That marketing claim is genuinely misleading when it comes to your eye health. The protective fiber is still completely gone, and all that concentrated sugar still hits your bloodstream like a freight train. Fourth, always eat pineapple after a balanced meal that contained adequate protein and healthy fats, never on an empty stomach by itself. The other macronutrients already in your digestive system will help buffer and slow down the inevitable blood sugar spike. Now that we've covered the 3 fruits you need to approach with serious caution, let me quickly share what you should actually be eating instead to protect and support your eyesight after 60. The absolute best fruits for aging eyes are berries of all varieties. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries are all densely packed with anthocyanins, which are powerful antioxidant compounds that specifically protect your retinal tissue from oxidative damage. They have naturally low glycemic indexes, high fiber content, and emerging research suggests they may actually help improve blood circulation directly to your eyes. Citrus fruits like oranges and grapefruits represent excellent choices as well. They're absolutely loaded with vitamin C, which actively supports the structural integrity of blood vessels throughout your eyes and may significantly help prevent cataract formation as you age. Don't forget about the non-fruit superstars for eye health either. Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collard greens contain high concentrations of lutein and zeaxanthin. These specific carotenoids accumulate directly in your macula and function like natural internal sunglasses, filtering out harmful blue light wavelengths and protecting your delicate retinal cells from damage. Here's what I want you to take away from everything we've discussed today. Fruit is absolutely not your enemy. In fact, the right fruits eaten in the right way can genuinely support your eye health for many years to come. But after 60, you need to become strategic and intentional about your choices. Your eyes have become significantly more vulnerable to blood sugar fluctuations than they were in your younger years. The fruits that cause rapid spikes, especially grapes, mangoes, and processed pineapple, can quietly accelerate vision damage that you won't even notice until it's far too late to reverse. The scientific research is abundantly clear on this point. High glycemic diets are strongly associated with dramatically increased macular degeneration risk. Low glycemic eating patterns may genuinely help protect your remaining vision and potentially even slow down existing damage. So, make the swap today. Trade those grapes for berries. Replace that mango smoothie with a handful of almonds and a fresh orange. Substitute canned pineapple with crisp apple slices paired with a small piece of cheese. These simple changes don't require giving up sweetness or pleasure in your diet. They just require being smarter and more intentional about exactly how you satisfy those natural cravings. Now, I want to hear directly from you. Which of these 3 fruits surprised you the most today? Have you noticed any changes in your vision over recent years? And what's your current favorite eye-healthy snack? Thanks so much for watching today. Take good care of those precious eyes of yours, and we'll see you in the next video.